You also have the option to choose to just modify the course that you have created over the summer as part of your IU training. So if you put a lot of time and effort into your course and you already look, especially if you looked at some of the grade settings for your gradebook, this would be an option that you could potentially use if you're okay with your course not being synced up to Skyward, and then we'll just add the students later. All right, so first thing that I'd want you to look at, I have a course that was already created. I just threw a couple random things in the course just so there was something there. If I click on Gradebook, and then I'm going to click on Grade Setup, I can see right now that I already messed around with some of the settings. You might not have any categories created. All right, so if you want to create a category, you just have to click Add. You can say whatever the category you want is, and then you're just going to say you're going to calculate by total points. All right, in my case, I already have two categories that I want, so I'm just going to hit cancel. But if you wanted to make something, just hit create. My categories I have are assessments and homework. I chose to make assessments my default option because in this case, I'm just saying that assessments is probably the one that I'm going to use most of the time. So anytime that I create an assignment, assessments is going to be the one that's kind of like highlighted by default, and then I just have to click from the drop down if I want to change it to homework. In my case, I don't have any of the categories weighted. I'm just saying however the points work out, that's how I want my grade to be. But if you do want your categories to be weighted, you just have to check off for weighted categories. And then right now, if they're both 100, that just means they're both weighted the same. I could say that I want my assessments to be worth 80%, and I want my homework to be worth 20%. All right, and then it's going to make that adjustment for me. What you really want to emphasize for students, though, is that this grade is not going to be the same that matches up in Skyward necessarily. So really just let them know that this is a way that you can communicate how they're doing on assignments, but Skyward really does have the final say with what shows up on the report card. In my case, I chose the grading period. I selected the open grading period option just because this is just a demo course that we have made up. If I want to change my grading period, I can click edit. Now that we're linked up through the school, I should be able to choose any of those options here basically for anything that's provided by Skyward. So if you teach a full year course, you can choose all 4 marking periods. If you teach a semester course, you can just do it by semester, or you could just choose the first and second marking period. You'd have the power to choose whatever you would want. And whatever option you choose, you're just going to have to click save. And then as far as anything else, there are a couple other options, including like if you want to override any grades or if you want to do anything like that, you can play around with those, or you can just ask to sit down with us and we can look at the options that are best for you, but you don't need to do anything else for the initial setup. And what's nice is your course is already set up. All right, we have your activities already in here. We have your gradebook set up. Now really all it is a matter of doing is adding sections to your course. Okay, so in order to add the sections to the course, all I'm going to do is go up to courses. All right, or actually I lie. We're going to do is we're going to go to course options. I'm going to just edit my information. All right, as you can see here, I have 3 sections. All right, what I really wanted to do was call them periods, since I think that is just basically what we'd be seeing at the high school and the middle school especially. But if I want to add sections or periods to my course here, I'm just going to have to basically just keep adding new sections. I'm just going to say I want to add period 4 now. All right. All of the options, like any website, if there's that little red asterisk, you're going to have to include that information. So when you created your course, you most likely already had to do this. But now that I added my extra section, I have a period 4 class. Now I'm going to hit save. And then all of my different periods should have the same exact settings in that gradebook, and they'll all see the exact same thing when they go into my assignments that I have created.